So as a Z enthusiast, you know that we struggle to keep the temps under the hood down. We already sell oil cooler kits. We sell high capacity radiators. We now offer CZP power steering cooler kits.
All right, Josh, with the bumper off, what are we doing?
We are gonna go after these two 10 mils right here. Just gonna zap those off real quick. And then with those off and the power steering cooler, just kind of, actually, I'm gonna get the one more that's holding the bracket with the lines. And that just helps you get a little bit more freedom. And then we're just gonna take these two clamps off and let all the power steering fluid drain into this catch can. So now that we got the old power steering cooler off and we're letting the lines drain out, we're gonna remove the washer fluid tank, and we're just gonna kind of hang it off to the side because you have to get access to the power steering lines that are right behind, like right here. So there's 3 10 mils. It's gonna be this top one right here going in, one right here, and one right here, as well as there's a pop clip up top that holds in this tube, and we'll show you how to get that out. You're gonna take this head and you're just gonna kind of wiggle it, and it's an O-ring fit in the bottom piece. So you just kind of gotta pull it up, and you'll get it like an inch up. Once you get an inch up, you can remove this without having to worry about it. First, we're gonna remove this clamp. Unfortunately, Nissan put the little tabs on the back side. So we get that off, and this is our one from earlier. I'll just pull it all the way up. Oop, not flying. And then we got to get this hose off of the factory hardline because we're still using that. Take a set of pliers, kind of twist and break it free, and then we'll go and pop it off. Perfect. We're gonna do that exact same thing with this clamp on the back and this U-shaped tube right here. So the hard line on this back one, rather than stopping right here, I don't know why, they decided to stop it right on the other side of the core support. So you just gotta pull that clamp and separate the tube. So we are gonna be reusing this little bracket for the OEM lines. And so we're gonna be basically taking this little tab that's bent in here and prying it out. And it should just now open up. So grab a little screwdriver in right here and pry it open. Perfect. So you just wanna split this open. Yeah, you can take it off. It comes apart in 2 pieces because we'll actually have to remove this tube and replace it with our own. There we go. One and two. This is the 3/8 inch oil line that we supply with our kit. So we're just gonna take one end of it and connect it up to where we just removed that one hose. So take it, slide it all the way up so that we can. And we're just gonna be reusing all these stock clamps because they're the nice spring kind. Next, we're gonna take our lower bracket and the hardware that we provide. We're gonna put the bolt facing up and put the rubber washer on, which kind of keep the bolt in place while we attach the core. So we're gonna take our core and slide it on. So just gotta get it aligned, and then we'll take our nuts and screw them on. These are slotted, so you have a bit of adjustment. You can move the core forward or backwards. For our car, we don't have the condenser because it's a track car, so we're just gonna place it all the way back. But if you have any clearance issues, you can just slide it forward a little bit. Next, now that we've got our bracket on our mount, we are going to fill it up. I'm just using some Nissan automatic transmission fluid, Matic D, so it's Dextron fluid, which is what they actually want for power steering. We'll show you a shot of the cap in a second, but it says use ATF only. You want to stop when the core gets completely full. You'll fill up one side and then it'll slowly go down and come up on the other. But you just want to make sure to keep topping it off until the level doesn't go down anymore. Now we're going to take the M22 to -6 AN fitting and thread them into the top of the cooler. The O-ring is going to do all the sealing. You don't need to crush these two metal faces into one another. You just need to butt them up against one another. So. And this is a 27 mil for any of those who are asking. Take some time if you got some coolant that leaked out or fluid that leaked out and wipe it off really well, because then you'll be able to spot leaks if they are developing in the future, and you want to just crank down the fitting a little bit more. But if you have coolant or fluid dripping down already, it's hard to tell if that's a leak or if it's from the install. So make sure you clean everything really well. You're gonna take your cooler core that is full of power steering fluid and mounted to the bracket, and we are going to mount it in the exact same location that the stock cooler mounted, using these two speed nuts with the OEM hardware still. So you're going to be using the OEM speed nuts and the OEM bolts. Now that we have the cooler core mounted, we can attach our lines. We're going to continue running the lines. So we're going to run it through the OEM grommet, make sure nothing is kinked and the line has plenty of movement. And then we're going to stretch it up over to the cooler here. I'm actually going to run this one to the all the way back, and I'm gonna take our -6 AN push on fitting and kind of hold it up to figure out where I'm gonna cut this at. So I'm gonna hold my thumb, I'll pull the line out, and looks like I'm gonna cut right about here. This is about the rough estimate of the length I need to get to the far side of the cooler. You can use a regular X-Acto knife or even a kitchen knife. You just want to make sure you're really perpendicular to the hose. And boom. Now that I have this hose end all cut, I'm going to run my clamp. I'm going to remove it from the OEM hose and put it on the new 3/8 inch line. And then I'm going to stick my press in fitting on. You're gonna make sure you press this fitting in really well. There's two barbs, and then you want the hose to go all the way and press into this black receiving cup. You wanna make it so it doesn't spin freely. So there's resistance on this. Like I can tell the hose is pushing on it because it's hard to twist. Now that we have our fitting fully on, we're just gonna pull the OEM clamp down over these barbs. We got the clamps on each side and the -6 push-on fitting on the end. We're going to swing it up and connect it to our cooler. And over to this -6 AN top and just screw it on. All right. So I'm just gonna leave that loose for now and we'll move on to this line. Just clamp up the line. And then I'm gonna hook up our leftover line on this fitting. And then we need to just measure this up. So we'll see, hold this fitting up and see how much room we need. So it looks like we need to cut it right here. and cut off the end of that. Perfect. And then I need to grab my last clamp. Open it up. Slide it on. And then grab my push lock fitting, and I'm gonna jam past these two barbs and make sure to take the hose and get it all the way. You see how this is still loose and jiggly? You want to get the hose all the way up against it so that this is nice and tight and has resistance against spinning. And then you want to take your clamp, run it back, and put it over the barbs. Take the line, fully thread it on. We just need to tighten these two -6 AN fittings. So we have a -6 AN wrench that we're gonna go ahead and tighten all these fittings with. So that is our cooler full and completely installed. All of our lines are in, all of the clamps are tight, all of our fittings are tight. Now we just need to go up to the reservoir and refill that. And then it's just pretty much bleeding the system and reinstalling the front bumper. All right, so now we're just gonna start up the car and crank the wheel slowly, fully left, fully right, about, I don't know, a dozen or so times, just to fully bleed the system and make sure our lines don't have any air in them and our cooler doesn't have any air in it, as well as top off our reservoir after we do this. But it's getting less and less each time I crank the wheel. The system's all bled and ready for the track. Not only do we have better cooling, but we also have a higher capacity. We're looking to test this out on the track coming soon, so stay tuned for a video with that. Thanks for watching, and like and comment down below. An easy way to make horsepower on an NA car.
Unbox this bad boy and take a closer look.
Beautiful car.